busy with the peak season upon us now, but we do appreciate you logging in. So I have Terry Comstock with me right now. If you haven't had an opportunity to talk to her yet, she is our newest member of the Commercial Agency Division. So she is learning lots of good information as we approach the peak season.
Hello, everyone.
All right. So obviously customer service is one of the most important aspects of the moving industry. And today we'd like to share some best practices to help make this peak season go a little bit smoother for all of our service providers. So first off, on military shipments and shipments that you receive from the Move Center, be sure to contact the customer the day you receive the shipper's information to set up that pre-move survey. It allows us to plan a little better, and also when you receive leads from the Commercial Agency Division or John Burkhart on the real estate shipments, also try and contact the customer that day, at least to get a survey set up or to let them know that we're working to service their move. Once you've done the survey, be sure to upload the survey into the Stevens system or email the cube sheet to your move coordinator. This allows them to enter any pre-approvals that might be needed, but also it allows our planners to plan trips better, whether if there's bulkies or unique items, we have an idea of that ahead of time and we can plan accordingly. Please, 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 if you're running late, contact the customer directly or contact your move coordinator by phone. You know, sometimes we're not always at our computer to access our emails, so it's important to let's pick up the phone, let them know we're going to be late, and advise them of a new time frame for arrival or delivery. Be sure to have background checks completed on anybody that's going into residence on Stevens jobs. We had a big push a while back to get those background checks on all of your employees, but those expire after 3 years. So a majority of them that did do their background checks through HireRight, those have expired unless you've updated it. So if you've updated it, please send that information over to us. So definitely recommend going through what background checks you have on your employees and making sure they're up to date, as well as remove any background check employees that are no longer with your company. So one of the main pushes that we're doing this again is we've landed a couple big national accounts, and they require background checks on all of Stevens employees going into those residents. So that's something that the Move Center is definitely going to be monitoring very closely. So if we can get ahead of it, things will go a lot smoother once you get those shipments. Before your crew leaves for residence, be sure the team leader is aware of the proper paperwork that they need to have completed or signed. You know, be sure to check the service instructions, review any special requests of the customer or any concerns they might have. That way, one, your team leader is aware of it, but then when they get to residence, they can review that with the customer. Also on military shipments, be sure that your crews have all the paperwork necessary for those jobs. And again, one resource that we have available is our accounting paperwork manual, which you can download that. It's posted on SVL Info under, you know, our documents there. It's also on the Stevens shop, or if you don't have a copy, reach out to any of us in CAD or accounting, and we'd be more than happy to email it over to you. But, you know, definitely give a copy to each one of your team members to review, so that if they ever have questions on the paperwork, they can go ahead and, you know, get that taken care of. So once your crew arrives at residence, the team leader should introduce themselves and their crew. They should do a quick walkthrough of the residence with the customer, and then you should have your team leader give a brief overview of how they will proceed throughout the day. So this is what we'll do. This is, some things to expect, and really, to ease their mind as to what's going on with all these people in their house. Definitely have your crew leader advise the customer when they'll be leaving for lunch, and then also what time they'll be returning for lunch. So if it's a half-hour lunch, an hour, whatever it may be, but keeping that communication with your customer is important. And then finally, review any special items or concerns with the customer. And again, you would find those on your service instruction. Throughout the day, make sure your team is being courteous and respectful of the customer and the customer's home, their property. Any issues that might arise, definitely you'll want to direct those to your team leader so that they can address those directly with the customer, so that there's one point of contact instead of 8 people going to the customer on every different direction. Because as we all know, moving is overwhelming, and that just can add to it. Remember, all surfaces must be protected in the home during packing and loading. Don't miss or do not mix any items from multiple rooms. So that's our biggest complaint that we hear, that I can't find something, or my shoes from my daughter's room were in the living room, or just different things that we hear on our feedback from our survey. So this is one of the biggest things. So keep your items per room in each box. And then finally, this seems a little simple or common sense, but make sure that your crews know there's no smoking at residence on their property. So just be respectful of that as well. The other thing that we always hear about is when packing boxes, be sure to mark the cartons with sufficient content. So making sure we have the customer name, reg number or GBL, listing what room the items came from, and then a brief description of the contents. High-value items should be packed but left open for the driver to verify, and then obviously they're sealed with a high-value sticker. And again, these items don't get opened until destination and in front of the customer. Another best practice is to always use parts bags, and then attach the parts bag directly to the item, whether it's the table, the nightstand, whatever it may be. But then list that parts bags were attached to item on the inventory. So that way we know, we're not assuming, well, I don't know what happened to this parts bag. We know ahead of time. And then be sure to clean up any debris left from packing. That's including empty tape rolls. And again, don't leave any personal trash at residence. It's another big complaint that we hear about, and we just, shouldn't be doing it. So communication is key. Please be sure to have your driver call 24 hours before arrival. And again, this is both at origin and destination. Be sure to answer their questions to the best of your ability. With that being said, if you aren't sure on something, don't tell the customer just what they want to hear. Most customers would rather you take the time, give them a call back, and get the information that they need. Another thing we don't want to happen is just to pass the buck and say, call Stevens. If that, if you're not sure on something, instead of having your customer do it, it would be best for you as the agent, the crew leader, the driver, whoever it is, to give us a call, and we can get that information for you instead of having this customer be passed around, and then they're just getting more frustrated as we're going on. Never argue with the customer. You won't win. It's just best to stay calm and collected when you're dealing with a frustrating situation or a difficult customer. One of the most important aspects in any business transaction is the appearance of the personnel providing the service requested. You know, the appearance sets the tone. This is both the appearance of our teams and crews, but also the appearance of our equipment. Crews always need to be in uniform, both van operators and helpers. Van operators, you know, if they haven't already, definitely order some more Stevens shirts and uniforms so that they can be stocked up, and have those in their tractors for their helpers and laborers that, you know, they might hire. And like I said, the appearance of our equipment is also important as a first impression on the customer. Be sure your tractor is clean, organized, fully equipped with onboarding equipment. You never know when you're at residence and the son or daughter, you know, everybody's fascinated by our semis and our tractor trailers, where they're just going to want to peek their head in, and if it's dirty and messy, it's not really a great impression. But with that being said, remember that the first impression sets the tone of your entire relationship with that customer. If you don't look sharp and provide the appearance of knowing what you're doing, from the first minute the customer lays eyes on you, you're going to have to work twice as hard to gain the customer's confidence in your ability and your skills. So it's important just to, you know, try and set a good first impression for sure. So this is one of my favorite quotes, that teamwork makes the dream work, and it's kind of what we try and go by in the commercial agency division. So any one of us, our extensions are up here. You know, you can also reach out to John Burkhart. He's always in the field, and Maury when he's available as well. But us three, Judy, Terry, and myself, are able to help you with, you know, anything that might come about. And like I said, this is going to be short and sweet. So we're ready for the peak season. I know everybody's busy, and we just appreciate you taking the time to sign on. So just going to give a minute to see if we have any questions. If you do have any questions, just feel free to type them in the question box. All right. Well, again, I appreciate everybody signing on today. If you have any of your team members or your crews that would be available in about 3 hours, we will be doing this again, and we'd love to have them participate in that if you think it would be beneficial. So this is actually the end of our webinar series, and we'll start back up in September. So if you have any topics that you'd like more information, or what Stevens can do to assist the agents, feel free to email me that information, and we can start putting together our next series of webinars. So again, thank you everyone, and let's have a good peak season. Thank you.
Thank you.